Okay, we are live. We are live, and this is a special broadcast. And actually, I scheduled it for 5 p.m., then I rescheduled it for 3 p.m. Now we're 5 minutes early, 5 minutes before 3 p.m. USA Eastern Time. So we're redoing the broadcast because yesterday's there was an audio problem, and I'm not sure what the audio problem was. I've gone through my settings and made sure everything is correct. So we should be on this mic right here. So if I move it further away, it should be a lot quieter now. And I should be better now. So we'll see. Hopefully, hopefully we've got this issue resolved. And nobody let me know in the comments yesterday that there were audio issues. I think it defaulted back to the audio, the mic built into the Mac Mini, and it wasn't on this mic because there was more background noise than normal. It didn't sound as good as normal. So let me know what it sounds like now. Let me know if you think the audio is the way it should be. Cheetown is in the house, and he enjoying some freshly picked peaches from the family orchard. Wow. Oh, cool. So peaches are starting to come in. Yeah, we've got a really nice orchard here, Catoctin Mountain Orchard, that has some really good peaches as well. Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to tap on this mic and let's see, make sure this mic is hot. Could you hear that tapping? Did that pick up? So anyway, yesterday's show, which I deleted the show because of the audio issues. I don't want to leave that content up there when, people want to listen to halfway decent audio, I think. So yesterday's show was about the price crash that's happening with Rolexes. And this is just a quick search I did, Rolex price crash, and I sorted by the last month, and you can see those headlines there. And you take this and combine this with reports that I've gotten from people. More and more people are getting the call. We had somebody in the chat yesterday that said that they picked up an Explorer 40 millimeter, walked into an AD and picked one up and was offered a couple of other watches, including a steel and gold GMT Master. But they ended up walking out with the 40 mil Explorer. And so I even have an AD that has a all gold GMT Master, and she said that she's going to hold it until around Christmas time. I've gotten the impression, talking to her a couple of times, that she kind of wants me to come in there and buy that thing. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening, folks. Let us know in the chat. Are you seeing the supply increasing, or I should say the demand decreasing? Because the supply is steady. The variable with Rolexes is the demand. The reason they've been hard to get the last few years, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years, is the demand has been exceedingly high because people have been investing and speculating on the watches. And so you see them with a watch box full of like a dozen steel Rolexes, right? As their investments, right? And they're hoping to flip them or later on be able to sell them for significantly more money, whatever. And I think that is what is going to slowly come to an end. And I think it's a good thing. Back in the day, it used to be you walked into an AD, you might, like I said yesterday, you might have to go to several ADs, but you're going to find a watch that you like because they're all going to have some watches in stock, and usually different watches, right? And that has not been the case for the last several years. And I think that that's not a good thing. So I think we're going to return back to normal. And back in the day, you could get a discount even on a steel sport model, maybe a 10% discount. You could get a 20 or even 30% discount off of an all gold model. So I think these times will return. Tom's back in the house. He says on vacation from the UK and in Orlando. Orlando. Okay, so you were in Orlando, or you're in Orlando now? This is the hot time of the year to go to Orlando, by the way. Let's see. Rolex prices are really down, almost unsellable unless you are prepared for serious loss. Chrono 24 is frivolous and unregulated, a reference to check prices. Yeah, I think a lot of gray market dealers are still trying to ask the high prices, but I think a lot of them are not moving. I think a lot of those watches that have pretty high prices on them are just not going anywhere. Craig, if you were going on a solo train and walking tour across Japan during the cherry blossom season in spring, which Grand Seiko would you wear while doing it? Oh, definitely the 002. Definitely the 002. Um, yeah. So it's a maximum comfort watch for me is, and that's see that this is the thing. The For me, it's all about the comfort. And of course, I like a gorgeous looking watch, right? But I also want a watch that's comfortable on the wrist. And a lot of people overlook that with their watches. I guess because they're box watches anyway, they're not wearing them anyhow, so it doesn't matter how comfortable they are. But they buy watches that objectively are just not comfortable on the wrist. I keep mentioning that gentleman that has the Deep Sea, has a relatively small wrist and had a Deep Sea on at Steve's event. And it just looked ridiculous. And it definitely looked like it was not comfortable. The panic era is gone. So now what we are seeing in the market are true prices. The demand is low. Let's see. Sell Rolex, keep money on the side. BTC drops in price, buy BTC. I don't know how much more BTC is going to drop, though. That's the problem. Some people are calling for another big drop in BTC, but it seems to be holding really strong in this $29,000, $30,000 range. There seem to be a lot of buyers, and the indications on chain are that some of the big money, some of the whales are stepping in and buying at these numbers. So that usually tells you that we're either at a bottom or close to a bottom when the whales are stacking, because they'll sell close to the top. Prices will be stable for retail. There's still a long wait list for buyers. The gray market is where prices will crash. Yeah, but eventually that'll catch up to retail as well. See, my point is once people, once the speculators realize that the game is over, they're going to be running for the exits. They're going to be trying to get rid of that inventory. And once they get rid of that inventory, they'll have to cut prices and so on. Once they get rid of that inventory, now the only people that are going to be going to ADs and actually buying watches at ADs are going to be end users, are going to be people that actually want to use that watch. And that's a smaller market than it has been. So therefore, the demand is going to drop significantly at the ADs. And it's going to take some time for this to work through to the ADs, right? Once all the gray market watches are liquidated, then it's going to be, I think, more watches showing up at ADs and people getting the call. That's what I'm predicting, and been predicting for a couple of years now that this was going to happen. Let's see here. Still here, thunderstorm at the moment. Yes, very hot, heading back to UK in 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand going to Florida in the summertime, but to each their own. Cheat down in the house. Remember these Rolex speculators saying the 116,500 Panda Daytona was going to break 100K in street value. And what's the price now on it? Do you know what are they actually selling for now, or do we have a handle on that? Let's see. Sammy the Bunny, do you see forced central digital currency after an event? Oh, I think that the governments will try to do some sort of uh, a digital currency, CBDC, if you want, if you will. Why wouldn't they? I mean, they want as much control as they can possibly get. Uh, this sort of thing will just be a very good advertisement for Bitcoin, right? It'll show people clearly why they want Bitcoin as opposed to a centralized digital currency that the government can control and can limit what you can buy and all those kind of good things that come along with that. So I think it'll just be a great advertisement for Bitcoin is the way that'll end up. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing right now. Okay, I mentioned this yesterday. This is a cool website. This is timechaincalendar.com, timechaincalendar.com, and you can put it on your cell phone also and put a shortcut on your home screen to that web app, timechaincalendar.com, and it's got all the information you're going to need to know about Bitcoin. Now that says it's 29.6. I thought it was like 29.2 earlier. Let's refresh this and see what's going on. Price has been kind of volatile. Yeah, so it's 29,362 right now. So yeah, so I think that I think we're going to keep ranging. Will Bitcoin dip down to like 25 grand? Maybe. But people that are saying it's going to go like below 10 grand, uh, I think that's optimistic. I don't think they're going to get a chance to buy Bitcoin for $10,000 again. Let's see, Cheetown. Gold is a symbol of timeless value across all centuries. No coincidence that the word for Friday in Japanese is, okay, I can't pronounce that, meaning gold day and also payday. It's not stainless steel day. Yeah. I mean, I was shocked all along how people started coveting these stainless steel watches. Like it's a big deal to have a stainless steel watch. I mean, like, oh my God, I've been saving up for years and I finally got the fill in the blank, right? And they're so excited that they got a stainless steel watch. And I'm like, that kind of excitement should really be reserved for a solid gold piece. Steel watch should just be kind of like a starter watch or like, a beater watch or whatever. I mean, but it's certainly not anything special. Nobody's going to think any steel watch. A normal person out in the real world is not going to think some steel watch is special, right? Now they see you wearing a nice gold stunner. That's special. I was watching the series. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it's Billionaires. I think it's the title. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's about this hedge fund guy and a bunch of the characters in there are wearing what appear to be gold watches on leather straps. Several of the people, and there are a couple wearing steel watches. One is wearing some kind of a big steel sport watch, but it's not a Rolex. It's something else. But I think there's some Rolexes in there too. So there's a lot of watches in that series. If you want to check it out, let's see. The 116500 could have gone further up, but COVID subsided. Um, yeah, but it's stupid to buy a steel garbage for 100K. Yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see here. The joys of having kids have to go when they're off school. Might do a road trip to visit Sarasota and family want to go to the beach. Yeah, if you do, go to Siesta Key Beach. It's beautiful. If you do go to Sarasota, absolutely, I would highly recommend that. I think you'll love Sarasota. And also walk around St. Armand Circle. St. Armand Circle, take a stroll around there. It's really, really beautiful. Being excited for stainless steel watch as your ultimate dream piece list is like listing for a four-cylinder Cadillac, lowering your standards. Yeah. Uh, I've sold my Rolex, moved to Seiko and Omega, and don't miss owning a Rolex at all. Cool. James in the house. Did you also take some of that money and maybe buy some Bitcoin with it? I hope. Let's see here. Steel is for poor people. I've had a 116520 and regret spending so much money on it at a gray back in the day. Yeah, I mean, Maybe if you still have it, maybe you can get out at a halfway decent price. I think watches are still selling. I just think the prices are down. Love my day dates. A day date is just, I mean, they're amazing. They've always been amazing. They will always be amazing. Talk about a timeless piece. Lusting after stainless watch as your ultimate dream is like okay, we already showed that one. Okay. Thanks for the tips. Okay, sure thing. Sorry, I meant lusting, not listing. Okay. Oh, by the way, I want to show these two camera shots again because I showed them yesterday. So here's the closer camera shot, and you can see the 002 on wrist, right? And so, what do you think? Do you prefer this camera shot? This is the A7S Mark III with a 75 millimeter lens. This is a A7S Mark II, A7S Mark II with a 40 millimeter lens. So which of those two do you prefer? The colors look similar to them. They're both Voigtlander lenses made in Japan. The colors look consistent on both. If you look at that background bokeh and the colors and also the skin tones, they look pretty consistent, but this one looks a little bit like the skin tones might be a little bit green. Of course, my complexion is terrible. Don't go out in the sun a lot when you're young, guys. That's what happens to your skin when you spend a lot of time in the sun in your younger years. So anyway, what do you think about those two shots? Um, let's see. Apologize to my opinion. Oh wait. Okay. David Lee. Okay. My opinion, these crypto exchanges will get the DOJ involved and cause some scare. Yeah, well, they should really just shut down all the altcoins. I mean, it's just there's no reason for that stuff. It's just gambling. It's silly stuff. They should just come out with legislation and just make all of those securities and just say call it a day. We just don't need them. There's no need for the altcoins. They all come and go. All they do is pump and dump, and if just a few people make money, everybody else gets scammed. We just don't need that. And I'm a libertarian. I believe people should be able to do what they want to do, but it's just not it's not constructive. Just like the lottery, the state, you know, promoting the lottery and, because the money goes to the schools and all this BS, right? It's a scam. It's stealing money from people, especially people that can least afford it. So I think they should just shut down all the crypto and just let people buy Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin. It's clearly not a security. It's clearly a commodity. There's nobody in charge. There's no boss. There's no home office. There's nobody to scam anybody. It's just simply open source software. So that's what they should do. Get rid of those others that are clearly scams. Apologies for saying in the chat. No, no, this is what it's about. This is an interactive show. It makes sense to buy a steel stunner if you're needing a dive watch for other action related reasons, military, etc. I would go with titanium in that case. Titanium is stronger. If you look at that watch, that grade 5 titanium is stronger in every way than any stainless steel that they use for a watch. It's more corrosion resistant. It's tougher. It's more comfortable on the wrist. So for extreme use, I would absolutely choose titanium over stainless steel any day of the week. Let's see. First camera shots for okay, already got that. I think the collapsing speculative market in China because of the real estate bubble implosion is probably also driving down Rolex demand. Well, I mean, there are a lot of triggers that cause this, right? There are a lot of triggers, and they're all just kind of playing out. But you always have to realize that anytime there's an overheated market where there's a lot of speculation involved, okay, and that's we're defining the Rolex market the last several years. Overheated market, lots of speculation. Those things almost always come to an end. Okay. It's just a question of when they come to an end. So yeah. So this none of this is a surprise. A7S2 is better. Okay, got you. Um, the second is clearer. Well, that's interesting. Well, you mean the one I'm on right now is clearer, right? It looks clearer to me than this one. This one looks a little softer than the first one. So yeah. Let's see. I don't have to worry about too much sun, Craig. No need for a white sheet of paper. Putting my arms and legs in front of a camera will correct the white balance. Okay. Um, let's see here. Is the Rolex Bluesy acceptable? I think it looks better than full gold. I, I was never a big fan, well, never a fan, period, of steel and gold watches. I always looked at them as a compromise. And no, I don't think they look better than all gold, personally. I just don't. I think they look like in between, like, they're no. So, so I wouldn't go that direction, especially now with the newer all gold watches with the ceramic sleeves and everything and the bracelets. So they theoretically solved that bracelet stretch problem, which really the bracelet stretch problem, I had my day date for 20 years, wore it often, and it had almost no stretch. If you keep your watch clean and you take care of it and you fit it properly on your wrist, it takes a long time for those all gold bracelets to manifest significant stretch, probably 30 or 40 years. So, but having said that, the fact that they've taken steps to maybe make it so they'll last 100 years without stretch, that's even better, right? Anytime you can improve it, that's better. So that problem is pretty much out the window, the stretch problem. So really, I see no downside to going all gold. The only downside for most people is the price, the cost, right? They don't want to spend the money. Tom, both look excellent. The toughest Rolex on the market, Deep Sea Challenge, is titanium, and the most rugged Seiko tunas are also titanium. Very good point. Very good point. Well, and if you think about it, that that submersible, the one that I talked about on some shows back, the one that the gentleman made to go to the deepest parts of the ocean, it was sort of like the James Cameron's Deep Sea Challenge, but he made a better one. He stepped up and made one even better than James Cameron's, because James Cameron's had to be retired. He made one that was a submersible that was all titanium. The sphere that the men are in is all titanium, cast titanium. And it is amazing. You should Google it and watch the video about him making that. But he chose titanium, and that thing is epic. That thing can go to the deepest parts of the ocean repeatedly, no problem. I mean, it's designed literally to be used for years. And he's gone like all over the place with that thing, um, and no issues. So he chose titanium for a reason to build that thing. Okay. The less mass in a watch, the less damage it will cause itself, which is why G-Shocks are so light. But yeah, so good, very good point. Very good point. Omega Aquaterra on a bracelet is a great alternative to the Rolex Date 8. Okay, got you. Yeah, Omega has some nice all gold watches, but none of them to me really got it completely right. I mean, the Date 8 is just such a gorgeous design. The whole thing, everything about it is just spot on that nobody else has really gotten it quite right to that degree, in my opinion. So, yes, Cheetown in the house. The bluesy is nice because you can mix it with either white metals and yellow gold. Gold sub is ultimate gold sports watch, though. Yes. And you can mix different metals together. Um, Brianna was here the other day. She's actually visiting in Maryland, but she didn't have time to do a live show. But she was wearing a bracelet that was like diamonds all the way around, and she wasn't wearing her faux pay. And I said, "How come you're not wearing the faux pay with that?" And she said, "Oh, well, it doesn't match." I said, "You don't have to match. You can have white gold and yellow gold and pink gold and whatever. You can put all those things together. It doesn't matter. Not in today's day and age in particular." Linda at Little Treasure Jewelers, she usually wears like 4 or 5 different faux pays, all different, all at the same time, right, on her wrist. So you can mix and match those things together. I would rather go with all yellow gold. Like for example, what I have on now, I have yellow gold here, yellow gold here. My pin in here somewhere, yellow gold, right? So I would rather go that direction, but you can mix them in. You can mix some white gold in if you feel like it. No real reason to, but you could. Let's see. Let's try talking a Richie Millie down to the taking a Richard Millie down to the Mariana Trench, and we all know the carbon fiber and high barometric pressure mix. Yeah, very good point. I talk about a poser watch. I mean, those watches. I mean, the fact that they ever got to the kind of money that they did, and people were actually buying those things. There's an old saying that people have more money than sense. Some people fall into that category where they just have a lot more money than they have good sense. Kyle's in the house. He says, "Hey guys, let's see." Kyle made some good points yesterday. We're redoing yesterday's show, Kyle. So any points you made yesterday, we need to make them again today because I deleted the other one because the audio was messed up and nobody told me the audio was messed up. By the way, how does the audio sound, guys? Is it still okay? So anything that you brought up yesterday, we should bring up again today. That goes for everybody. Yeah, Cheat Down says Kyle's in the house. Okay, so I'm at the beach right now, though thought we were going live at 5. Yes, I rescheduled it because something else came up that I need to do later. And this is just a rebroadcast anyway. Again, I had to delete yesterday's because there was some kind of an audio problem. So I figured I would redo, the broadcast today so that hopefully that problem is fixed. Let's see. Bree can wear white gold, pink gold, yellow gold all together. Rolex calls it Tridor. Yes, that's right. Ray in the house. Good to see you, Ray. Good to see you. And what do you think? Are you getting the word that Rolexes are becoming a little bit more available? Are you hearing people are getting the call? Let us know what you think about that, about what's going on. Let's see. He says, "Hey, Kyle." And audio is excellent. Good report. And Cheetown in the house. You wouldn't believe the markup on these limited edition hip hop fashion clothes. The cheapest, crappiest fabrics and designs for high end handmade for high end handmade goods money. So so yeah, again, a lot of these nouveau riche people, new money, they just don't know what to do with their money. They really don't. And also a lot of them, it's very sad. They think that it's going to keep flowing in forever. And some of them it doesn't. And they end up broke years later because they didn't put anything aside. Audio sounded okay. So and that's the thing. I was talking to somebody the other day. Somebody the other day says, "Oh, that Bitcoin thing, it's a Ponzi. It's a Ponzi scheme." I said, "Well, first of all, you really need to study what the definition of a Ponzi scheme is." I said, A Ponzi is typically you got this guy at the top, and he's bringing in people that are, quote, investing money, and he's promising them a certain return. But that return is based on other people coming in and, quote, investing money with him, giving him money, and then he takes and gives that money to the other guy, right? The problem with Bitcoin, the reason Bitcoin doesn't meet that definition is there is no guy in charge. There is no boss. There is nobody running the Bitcoin company, if you will, or the Bitcoin investment fund or whatever. Um, and even if you made the argument that Satoshi Nakamoto is that guy, Satoshi Nakamoto has been left the whole project like in 2011 or something. He's been gone for more than 10 years, and nobody even knows where he is or even who he is. So even if you would make the argument that he is the guy at the top of the Ponzi, obviously nobody's paying him and he's paying somebody else. I mean, that ain't happening because none of his coins are moving and nobody's sending coins to him. So he doesn't even meet the definition of a Ponzi. And then some people also say that it's a pyramid scheme, right? So, a typical pyramid scheme is you come in to the pyramid. Some guy starts it up here, and then two people come in, and then four people, and the pyramid grows down, right? But you come in, and then if you bring more people in, you get a commission. So let's say I bring two people in, okay? I get a commission on anything they do, and then they bring in a couple people, and I get a commission on those people. And usually most pyramid schemes, it's down to 7 levels, is you get commissions on anybody that comes in, quote, under you, right? And again, Bitcoin doesn't do that. Bitcoin doesn't pay me any commission. You might get a commission from an on-ramp, like you might sign somebody up for Strike or something. The Strike might send you $5 for helping them get a customer, but that's a one-time thing. You might even get an arrangement. I think Swan Bitcoin will give you a small stipend if you bring in a customer to them and then that customer stays with them. They'll pay you a little bit each time that person buys some more Bitcoin through them, right? But again, that's only one level. That's just like a referral fee. So that doesn't meet the pyramid scheme definition. So there's just really no way you can shoehorn what Bitcoin is into either one of those schemes, either a Ponzi or a pyramid. It just doesn't meet the definition of either one of those. Let's see, Craig, if you had to build a 4-piece collection of 2 current production GSs and 2 current production Rolexes, which ones would they be? Oh, that's simple. That's a very easy question to answer because it would be that watch right there, as far as Grand Seiko goes, and this watch right here. Do this one. This watch right here. Those would be the 2 Grand Seiko watches, right? And then for Rolex, it would be a yellow gold date 8, probably with a black dial. I'd have to look at some of the dials, but probably with a black dial. Maybe with the diamond indices. Some of those black dials with the diamond indices look pretty good. And then probably the gold GMT Master, the yellow gold GMT Master. So that's an easy that's an easy question to answer. Unlike a Ponzi scheme, there's also a limited number of BTC to be made. Well, can't a Ponzi also theoretically have a limited number? Couldn't it be set up that way where the guy at the top says there's going to be X number of whatever we want to call it, right? And then promise people returns, and then people come in and invest, and then other people come in and he uses this money from this guy to pay this guy, and he's monkeying around like that. Couldn't he do that on a fixed supply thing too? I would think he could. So, but again, there's still got to be that guy that's doing that. That's what a Ponzi is it's you're paying off your your earlier investors with money coming in from the new guys coming in, right? You're that's kind of what you're doing. And it's usually the reason you have to do that is because whatever your scheme wasn't working. It wasn't getting returns, so you have to fake you have to manufacture the returns and use other people's money that are coming in to fake those returns. So that's what Madoff did, right? So if Satoshi lives in Japan, then chances are we'll never hear from him again. They love paying cash for things there. You can also disappear yourself legally and the police will leave you alone. Interesting. Interesting to know that. It's possible people speculate that he's dead or that he burned the keys early on and so that he doesn't have any access to the Bitcoin even if he wanted it. Um, I think it's also possible that he set a time frame that he said, I'm going to let this thing play out for 20 years. And at the end of the 20 years, depending on how it unfolds, then I'm going to decide what to do with my million coins because he hasn't like a million coins, right? So he could just be very disciplined. He could just have a very strong hand and just say, I'm holding it for 20 years and I want to see how this thing plays out. And then I'll decide based on how it all plays out what to do with my million coins. I mean, that's very plausible. Let's say that he was 40 years old at the time that he invented it or put it together. It's kind of more like a discovery than an invention. But he put the whole Bitcoin thing together. Let's say he was 35. Let's say he was 35 years old when he did that. He could very easily have said to himself, once he accumulated the million Bitcoin, he could have said to himself, okay, I'm going to step away from this thing. It's going pretty good. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to step away. I'm working on other projects or whatever. He's probably got a full-time job, whatever. But I'm just going to hold those Bitcoin for 20 years until I'm 55 years old. And then I'm going to decide what to do with them. I mean, that's plausible right there, right? What do you guys think about that? Is there any risk in investing in BTC apart from ups and downs? That is a very good question. That is a question that I would love to know the answer to because I can't find it. And, one thing that that Dave Ramsey has said that I do agree with, he's very anti buying Bitcoin. But one thing I do agree with him on is when you have an investment, every day that you have that investment, you're in effect reinvesting in that thing. So you can't say, okay, I bought Bitcoin 6 years ago and my Bitcoin is up to whatever value. And you can't think of it in terms of what you bought it for 6 years ago. You have to think of it in terms of what it's worth today. And would you invest that same amount today at the prices today? In other words, if you're going to continue with that investment, you need to think of it in terms of what is it worth right now? And should I continue with that investment? And my answer to myself is yes, I'm continuing with that investment because I don't see a better place to put the money, A, and B, I don't want to pay the capital gains tax on selling some of the Bitcoin and having to pay that capital gains tax. So, but again, the first reason is the most important is I still think it's a good investment. I still think it's early. I still think only about 1% of the people out there really understand Bitcoin. And so I think that there's no better place for me to put the money that I have in Bitcoin right now. There's no better option. If I knew of a better option, I would put it there, right? I'm not married to Bitcoin, right? But I can't think of anything. And I think it's pretty safe because I really think that the network is extremely strong. If you look at the hash rate of the network, how many computers are all around the world running the software and processing the transactions, that's the hash rate. If you look at the total hash rate, it's almost at all-time highs. I mean, it's been going up and up and up and up. So it's the Bitcoin network is as secure as ever, if not more secure. More big companies are getting involved. Um, there's like 3 presidential candidates on the Republican side, are all pro Bitcoin. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is pro Bitcoin on that Democratic side. A bunch of other senators and congressmen are starting to become pro Bitcoin. So this thing is moving the right direction. So, but if you can find something that I should be concerned with, please let me know, because I would love to know. And I study this thing for hours and hours every day because I've got a significant investment on the line. So I want to know, because I would get out. I would get out if I thought that it was at real risk. Cheetown in the house. Craig, you're right. A Ponzi doesn't necessarily have to be marketed as endless to marks. That's correct. Matter of fact, they would probably be smart to market it as something that was limited, right? Hey, there's only going to be a limited number of investors that I let into this fund, and I'm only going to do, this is going to be limited and that's going to be limited and blah, blah, blah. He's going to use that word limited probably a lot. So yeah, the whole magic to Bitcoin is there's no single person in control, unlike SPF. That's correct. The whole benefit, the problem that Satoshi Nakamoto solved is he didn't want government or corporations to be in control of the money. He didn't want either one of those parties to be in control of the money. He wanted the money supply basically to be regulated by math and by the protocol. Okay, by the rules of the system that he designed. He designed a system with rules, not rulers, right? So he designed it, and the way Bitcoin works, the way the game theory of Bitcoin works, it's impossible to cheat the system. If you try to cheat the system, you're basically ostracized and you're outside of the system now. So the only way you can participate, if you're a Bitcoin miner or you're running a node, or you even own Bitcoin and you want to send it from point A to point B, the only way you can do any of those things is if you follow the rules of the network, if you follow the protocol, right? And you can't change it. You can change the protocol if you want, but you're going to be ignored. You're not going to be part of the network anymore. That's what we call a fork, where, like the Bitcoin Cash people, they thought they had a better way of doing it. And so they they made some changes. That's a fork of Bitcoin. So that's not, so they're no longer part of the network Bitcoin that I'm part of. They're part of their own network. So that's the beauty of the whole thing, is he figured out how to do that. He figured out how to create a network that was anti-fragile, that could not be attacked by a government or a big corporation or whatever and taken over, and and them take control of it. So that's really the beauty of what he did. I think he's dead. That's why he doesn't speak about imposters and other scammers. Maybe, but you know, maybe he just saw all this coming and knew how it was going to play out, and knew that Bitcoin would be dominant anyway. That again, Bitcoin was designed to be anti-fragile. So he designed it to be anti-fragile. So if it turns out that any of these imposters, any of these altcoins, any of these government agencies or whatever, if any of these things could harm it, could shut it down, could capture it, then he's failed. Then by definition, it's not anti-fragile, right? So maybe he wants all of this to play out, and he wants it to be attacked as much as possible. Matter of fact, I think he even said in the white paper that basically the more it gets attacked, the stronger it gets. That's how it's designed. So, he might be ecstatic as to the way things have been playing out. BTC is always compared to some scheme. I heard Tulip Mania just recently. Yeah, they did that years ago too. You don't hear that as often anymore. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin has been pronounced dead. Uh, I think 500 times by major media over the last 14 years now. So yeah, they're going to keep pronouncing it dead, and good luck with all of that. Let's see. It's called Jiaosu or evaporating. I'm not sure what that means. Uh, where as long as you aren't abandoning your kids or are wanted in charges, you can disappear yourself or start over. Okay, and the police will respect your privacy. Okay, interesting. Okay. Well, see, that's the other thing as we shift to a Bitcoin standard, this is going to pivot us back to where you'll have much more privacy than you have now as we slowly move that direction and the pendulum swings back and we take back some of our self sovereignty, uh, and we have actual real property rights. I feel good that I have actual property that nobody can take away from me. Nobody. The judge can say, I fine for so and so, pay them X amount, whatever, and I can say, I don't have any money. How can I pay them? And just well, I heard you had some Bitcoin. I was just talking. I don't have any Bitcoin. What are you talking about, Bitcoin? I'd never buy that stuff. And he has no say in the matter, right? He has no say in the matter. So that's the cool thing about Bitcoin. An alcoholic once told me, SNOBRA cost you money. People should put money in gold, not watch. In put money in gold, not watches. Okay, so the gold 2.0 is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is better than gold in every respect. Bitcoin is more scarce than gold. We know there's a fixed number of Bitcoin that will ever exist, 21 million Bitcoin. We don't know the amount of gold that will ever exist. We don't know that, and we can't audit that. Okay, so gold does not have a fixed supply. Gold is hard to verify. You can get scammed. People can sell you gold coins that are not real. They can sell you a gold bar that's not real. It can be faked. It can be counterfeited fairly easily. Bitcoin cannot. If you actually have custody of your Bitcoin and you have it properly custodied, then you know exactly how many Bitcoin you have and you know that they're real. Okay. And this is not hard to verify that your Bitcoin are real. Okay. So and Bitcoin is infinitely divisible down to 100 million units. Sure, gold can be taken down to just a couple grains of powder of gold, but it's not transportable, right? I can't transport it from me to you in seconds like I can Bitcoin. I can transport Bitcoin all around the world easily. Can't do that with gold. It's expensive to do that with gold. So Bitcoin takes all the shortcomings of gold. Gold is wonderful. It's been a great store of value for 5,000 years, but it takes all the benefits of gold and it brings them into the modern era makes it digital. And so that's a huge, huge thing. Could central bank digital currency block you from cashing your Bitcoin? No. See, that's the beauty of Bitcoin is it's not censorable. It cannot be. If I decide to send my Bitcoin from me to you, all I need is your Bitcoin address and an internet connection. That's all I need. And I can send my Bitcoin from me to you. And nobody can stop that. No government can stop it. No corporation can stop it. They can try to make it more difficult for me. They can take some of the apps out of the app store. There's things they can do, but there's also things I can do to get around all of that. So, um, yeah, it's not censorable. It really is not. And also, by the way, the beauty of Bitcoin is the game theory of Bitcoin is such that if a country decides to crack down on Bitcoin, if you will, it's only going to hurt them. It's like they're shooting themselves in the foot because some other country is going to embrace it. And guess what? The people with the money, they're going to go there. It's just like right now, people are moving from California to Florida, right? For various reasons. It's the same thing. And it's mostly the rich people, by the way, that are leaving California and going to Florida. So their tax base has been like devastated in California. Florida last year, I think, took in an extra $12 billion in taxes because of people moving from California to there. And so that's the game theory that will play out is places that are friendly to Bitcoin, people will go there and they'll be prosperous, right? And the places that try to quote crack down on Bitcoin, they'll shoot themselves in the foot. So I think that ship has sailed. I don't even think they're going to even try to crack down. And add to all of that the fact that a lot of congressmen, senators, and powerful people are starting to buy Bitcoin now. They actually own it themselves. So they're not going to crack down on something that they own. Okay. So I think that ship has sailed. Smash the like people, Panzered Ribeye. Thank you very much. Another reason not to win the lottery in California is you're legally forced to disclose your name publicly if you win the lottery. Yes, some jurisdictions have that. And I'll tell you what, everybody will come out of the woodwork if you win the lottery. All your distant cousins, everybody will come out of the woodwork and they're all going to want money. Let me refresh this. Speaking of money, refresh this and see if I can. Okay, so here's the time chain calendar app, timechaincalendar.com. So check that out if you want to keep on top of things. And my page, let's see here. My page is CraigShipp.com/Bitcoin, CraigShipp.com/Bitcoin. And this is a page that has all kinds of information about Bitcoin. Just everything I've stumbled across in the last, 8 years I've been talking about this. It's all in here. Ways to get Bitcoin. There's Time Chain Calendar embedded in there. Some great Bitcoin art and a whole bunch of videos and a couple of podcasts that I was on. So that's all on CraigShipp.com/Bitcoin. If I remember, I'll put a link down in the description. I didn't put it down when I set this up, but I will if I remember. But yeah, and we talked about yesterday. Okay, so let's say roughly you can buy a solid gold Rolex for the price of one Bitcoin right now. I mean, you could buy a really nice date used for 30 grand, right? Okay. So let's say you could buy a nice solid gold Rolex for one Bitcoin right now. And we asked the question yesterday, which would you do? Would you buy one Bitcoin and then hold it for 10 years? Or would you buy a gold Rolex? Which would you do? Okay. So let me know in the chat, what would you do? And the other question is 10 years from now, what would the purchasing power of that one Bitcoin be? How many gold Rolexes would it buy then? Okay. So 10 years from now, that's two more Bitcoin halvings. The halvings happen about every 4 years. So two more Bitcoin halvings. How many gold watches, if you were patient, you decided you're going to wait 10 years, I'm going to buy one Bitcoin, I'm going to wait 10 years. How many gold Rolexes will it buy in 10 years? So that's the question that we asked yesterday. I'd like to hear your answers. Craig, they can see the money leaving your bank account to exchanges. They can tell how much you bought once you move it to a wallet on the public blockchain. They will tax it eventually. Yes, but you don't have to buy it that way. You can buy Bitcoin from private individuals for cash. So there are also ways you can buy it online without any KYC. KYC is know your customer information. So there are websites, and for example, you can go to like Amazon and you can buy a gift card. And then you can take that gift card and you can buy Bitcoin with it on a website that's non KYC. So these are the things that you can do. There are ways to get around all the KYC things if you're concerned with that. I would say that you don't really need to be concerned with that. I do have some non KYC Bitcoin. I think I lost it in a boating accident though, but I did have some. But anyway, I don't think it's that big a deal. People make a big deal out of it. They make a big deal out of the tax and all that. I think eventually the US is going to get rid of the capital gains taxes on Bitcoin. I think there's going to be too much pressure on them. And again, it's going to be competitive because places like El Salvador have already done it, where there's no capital gains tax on Bitcoin. So if I choose to move to El Salvador and take all my Bitcoin with me, and I choose to sell some there, there's no capital gains taxes. Okay. So there's going to be incentives for jurisdictions to do things like make the tax laws attractive for Bitcoiners because they want the Bitcoiners to come there and spend money, right? Because eventually the Bitcoiners are going to have all the money. That's the way this whole thing is going to play out, right? Bad money flows into the good money. Everything's going to flow into Bitcoin. All value over time, over a long enough time horizon, all value will flow into the hardest money. The hardest money ever known by man is Bitcoin. So the money is going to flow into Bitcoin. So that's where all the money is going to be. Craig, what do you think about the new Prius? I personally love the style and change. Yes, I do like it. I think it has a little less headroom in the back, maybe, but no, I like it overall. I still like the looks of my original Series 2 Prius 2004. I think it's the best looking of all the Priuses. But yes, I do like the new one. And if I was in the market for a new car, I would definitely consider that. I would definitely consider it. And then they're still made in Japan, which is good. I worked for a state lottery. Many people's lives were ruined by winning. A study was done in Canada with 60% major. Yes, yes, exactly. Exactly. You're correct. Those darn boating accidents, Craig, you need to be more careful with your seafront. Yes, it's dangerous. It really is dangerous out there. Kyle's in the house. He lives right on the coast there. I mean, he was surfing one time, and I mean, I heard this from good sources. He was surfing out there one time, and he had his hardware wallet with him with 36 Bitcoin, 36 Bitcoin on the hardware wallet, and he hit a wave wrong, and he lost the hardware wallet. I think it fell into the water, and then a shark came, and it was shiny, had a little shiny thing on it, and boom, just gobbled the hardware wallet and just kept swimming, right? And Kyle's like, he didn't have a spear gun with him, so there it went. So always back up your secret words on titanium, folks, and put it somewhere safe because you never know when a shark is going to swallow your hardware wallet with all your Bitcoin on it. Need to be more careful as well. No longer surf due to that experience. The shark is living high on the hog. Yeah, I wonder if, sharks are really smart. I wonder if he realized what he had. That's a very good point. He could be doing really good right now, and he'll do even better if he holds that Bitcoin for 10 years. Speaking of 10 years, speaking of advice to people, let me play this again from Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. I think I have it here somewhere. Where is it? Uh, ta- 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 ta. Oh, here it is. Adam Meister. This is from 2015. Okay. So check this out.
So you can go to a site called Coinbase and just buy Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, right now, one Bitcoin costs $250, let's say. But you can get much less than a Bitcoin, 0.01 Bitcoin. You can spend $5 worth of Bitcoin. Get some Bitcoin. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, I don't have any money. You do have money. And Americans do not save enough. Americans don't plan enough. This is a little investment you can make that the average Joe can make. This is not the complexity of investing in a mutual fund, or the complexity of investing in the stock market. This is just a simple little thing you can do that every man can get in on this. This is like getting in on an IPO, on the Yahoo IPO. Imagine if you got in on that way back in like 1997 or whatever. This is your opportunity. Don't let people scare you away.
There you go. So I wonder how many people listened to him. I listened to him because he was the first one that got me to start buying and holding as opposed to selling and trying to trade, trying to time the market, which is what I was trying to do before that. Let's see. Daniel, how many Seikos can I get 10 years from now for one BTC? Grand Seikos or Seikos? Seikos, a lot. Grand Seikos, a good number. Cheetown, sharks are attracted to the smell of blood. So those Rolex investors who bought a steel Daytona for 60K now better watch out. Kyle in the house, I think we should do lives every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Does that work for others? Yeah, I mean, we can probably do that, but can you join sometimes live? That would even make it more interesting if we can get a live report from the beach. Yeah, I think we could probably do that. So, and Kyle says you're thinking of going to Japan this fall. Yes, that would be cool. Craig, have you done any recent photo shoots? The only recent thing I did was the Touch a Truck event at Adventure Park USA. Some photos up on my Flickr of that. So I was there, took some photos there, but not a whole lot. Let's see. Maybe pick up a GS when he's there. Yes, I like that Japan market one that you had though. That titanium one that you sold. I kind of wish I'd have bought that thing. That was a sweet piece. So yeah. Craig, I was referring to the CS logo back then for Grand Craig Seiko. Daniel. Okay, how many Craig Seikos can I get? Well, so we need to, first of all, we need to get Grand Seiko to agree to Kyle and I going to Japan this fall, okay, and helping them out. Just coming up with a game plan and a design for 10 models. I think that's all they need is like 10 core models that Kyle and I can design, and it'll blow people's minds. People will be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Grand Seiko did this." And here's the thing, we don't even need to take credit. They can secretly fly us there. I'm sure they've got like a G650 laying around or something. They can secretly fly us to Japan and we can meet with them. We can even meet at an undisclosed location, okay? And we can go through all of this with them. We probably need 2 days with them, right? With their best people, and we'll meet and we'll take care of all this. We'll iron out all the issues that Grand Seiko has. All the issues will be dealt with in 2 days' time. Us meeting with them at a secret location in Japan. Definitely go to Japan in the fall. The summer is awful right now. Big heat wave and heavy rains. I made that logo. Okay. The CS. Uh, let's see here. There's speculation that typhoon season is going to be worse in Japan because of the heavier rains and heat wave. Tokyo has top 100. Yeah, everybody's saying that. Everybody's saying that the hurricanes are going to be worse in Florida and all this stuff because the water's so warm and all this stuff. They say this kind of stuff every year. Okay. And they've been, the doom and gloomers have been saying all this stuff for years. I laugh at it because when I bought my house in Florida, and my house is about 9 feet above sea level, above the level of the Gulf of Mexico, 9 or 10 feet, something like that, because it's all flat there, right? So they were telling me when I bought my place 25 years ago in Florida that within 20 years, it would be underwater. It would be underwater. I'd be able to use it for 20 years, but after that, it's done. It's underwater, right? Forget about it. The water hasn't moved 1 inch at Siesta Beach. It's still the same place it was 25 years ago. I don't see any difference whatsoever. I see zero difference in the water level there, right? It's nowhere near my house. So these people are batshit crazy, if you ask me. Um, I went in October 2018. It was raining. Oh, you've been to Japan? Oh, okay. Craig, would you swear off Apple and only use Android phones and Dell PCs for 5 years in exchange for one BTC? Let's see. Android phones and Dell PCs. Oh my God. Damn. I'll put it this way. If I didn't have any Bitcoin, yes, I would take that deal like that, like that. But no, I don't think I would take that deal now because you know, I'm overweighted in Bitcoin as it is. People say I'm crazy with my Bitcoin holdings as it is. So if I have even more, then they're just going to say I'm even crazier. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I I just hate Windows computers like the Dickens. Craig, I love the titanium Blaupan 50 fathoms Grand 8. It speaks to me. What do you think? Again, I mean, my God, how are you going to beat that? How are you going to beat the 231? It's a gorgeous watch, comfortable on wrist. You can probably buy one used for $4,000, right? In pretty good shape. Probably real good shape for $4,000. And you got the spring drive. How can you beat that? I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd pass on the 50 fathoms and go with the GS personally. Uh, Fear mongering works in 5-year cycles. Yeah, what they've done, they're not stupid. I mean, some of them are, but most of them have wised up. And what they do now is they make predictions out 100 years. They don't make predictions saying what's going to happen in 20 years. Because they've learned that none of those predictions came true, right? That they made all the predictions from the 70s, 80s, 90s, none of those predictions have come true. All the doom and gloom predictions, none of them come true. Remember the book, The Population Bomb, where everybody's going to starve to death because there's too many people and we can't feed them and all that stuff? That came out in like the 70s or something, predicted the end of the world within 20 years. None of that happened. And so all of their predictions, none of them have come true. And so what they're doing now is they're making predictions out 100 years. They're saying what's going to happen in 100 years' time. But we have to deal with it right now. We have to deal with it right now by giving them some money, right? And then everything will be fine. If we give them a lot of money. That's the important thing. Kyle, yes, I went for a concert. I remember being in the hotel on that trip, watching your channel. Oh my goodness. Um, the amount of headaches Craig's will go through with PCs and Windows aren't going to make that one BTC worth it. Yeah, because I'm still making money with my business and so forth. So I'm making money that I can buy that one Bitcoin, and I'm making it by using all these tools, right? So you take away those tools, I might not be able to make as much money. So I might end up with less Bitcoin in the long run. So there's that possibility too. At night, of course, I didn't waste my trip in the hotel room during the day. Um, let's see. Which cities did you visit? Okay, there's the list. Did you visit all of those? I want to visit in the next couple of years. Okay. Um, Sade is Wrench Gang material? Okay, absolutely, he is, but I don't see him in the comments right now. He's disappeared. So yeah, we can try to make him a Wrench Gang member. Germany, we need to curb carbon. We need to curb carbon emissions. Also, Germany, we must shut down all the nuclear power plants and restart coal. Yeah, it is unbelievable. It really is what some of these people do. And we got to wrap up here soon. So only went to Tokyo. I stayed in Rappany, whatever that is. Okay. Okay. I went to the top of Sky Tree, really awesome. I always like to visit the skyscrapers and towers in major cities. Okay. I reckon Apple is worth the extra cash because of all the headaches you don't have to go through. I own my 2011 Mac for 10 years, mostly trouble-free. Yeah, absolutely. I've had very few issues with any of my Apple computers. Let's see. How was the dining out? I heard Japan's awesome for eating out. There you go. All right, we are going to wrap it. Let's see if I have any more video clips I want to play here just for fun. Let's see here. Oh, talking about gold. Here we go. Here's a good one for gold. Well, I don't know. I might get a copyright ding. Well, we'll play it.
You forgot your change. Makes the world go round.
What's that?
Gold.
Some people say love.
Yeah, they're right too. It is love. Love of gold.
Love of gold. There you go. Oh, this was the other good one. We were talking about stainless steel watches. Okay, listen to this one. This is a good one. Listen carefully, folks.
Maybe put on a cheaper watch, though, so he doesn't feel too bad.
Run down to Gary's and get me a stainless Rolex.
he says, maybe get a cheaper watch. He says, go down and get me a steel Rolex. You guys think I make this stuff up? I'm not making this stuff up, folks. All right, let me get back to the comments. Wrap this puppy up. Okay, great food. Okay, sushi, of course. I can't wait to visit when I get the chance. There you go. I think Lady Brianna is Satoshi. That'd be good. She was. Jump on the plane this fall. It's still not 100% sure I can go though. Okay. I have to miss timeout. Not sure I can do that. Okay. Well, can't you schedule it around timeout? Hey, maybe you can. Let me think. Oh, Japan, you'd fly the other way. So you'd fly across the Pacific. So yeah, you'd be going like the wrong direction. I was going to say you could do it on the way, but it's the opposite way. So yeah, that probably wouldn't work. So yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap this puppy up. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we solved the audio issue. And let me make sure I didn't have any videos that I should play. Let's see. Oh, we mentioned the Richard Mille watches, right? This is the reaction to those, to the Richard Mille.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Oh boy, I don't know, folks. I think that's it. I think that's all we need to do. Oh, but remember this? You guys remember when I bought Bitcoin at $4,000 and told people to buy it at 4,000? And so let's see what happens. Filled, okay? You notice right there, it just switched to filled right there. Okay, so this Bitcoin is purchased. So I bought one Bitcoin right there live. It was live during a broadcast for $4,000. There you go. And people were saying, no, I'd rather take that 4,000 and buy a Rolex. Let's see. Thing is, I have friends going at that exact time. They are trying to get us to go anyway, not booked or anything. Okay. Opposite way, correct. Yeah. So what do you got to do? You get Japan, get the Grand Seiko folks to pony up. They need to fly us there. They can pick me up here in the G650, fly over to your place, pick you up, and then we'll just keep right on going, right across the Pacific, right over to Japan. A G650 will get us there in no time. Okay? That's what we need. All right, set it up. See you all next time.